guys, I'm back. So this is our third one now, and so I wanted to before I get into deeper stuff, okay, to talk about. I kind of want to have you super set up, okay, with a lot of stuff here. So I just don't want to have to recircle back to this stuff and then have to like, oh, you know what, guys, I forgot. Let me show you how this works, and then so I'd rather just do that now. So anyway, so let's talk about Visual Studio Code, okay? So I'm assuming that you already downloaded it by now. Hope you did. If not, do it. Okay, I talked about that in the previous one. And while you're downloading and installing it and running it and all that good stuff, I'll take this time to tell you while I wait, I guess, for you to tell you to like my channel, share it, and the more you share it, the better I get. I get some help from you guys, and then I can maybe dedicate more time to create more of these videos and more of these tutorials. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming that you got it running already so far. All right. So let's go ahead and just basically just start it. Just go to whatever your Windows program may be, or in the Mac, SOB in applications, and find the Visual Studio Code and just open it, and then you'll get maybe a welcome screen, I think. I hate that welcome screen. There is usually a check mark somewhere that it says click on it and it won't come up next time you start it, something like that. So yeah, if you like the welcome screen, then by all means leave it alone. I don't. So anyway, so this is what I get. Okay, so how does Visual Studio actually work? Okay, so next, whenever you want to pull a site up and start working on it, you go to Files, and then you open Folder. Okay, because if you click Open File, then you'll get exactly one file. You don't want that. So let's say, for example, this one, Travel Body, right? Let me see if this is the entire, yeah, that's the entire site. So you go to Travel Body, for example, this contains the website, okay? And I select the folder. And then once I do that, you're gonna see that now all of a sudden I have this view here, this space here. It's called the workspace, okay? The work area, whatever it's called. So this is the work area. This is where I actually get to actually code and blah blah blah. This mini tree or whatever it's called, mini viewer or something like that, is so I can just scroll faster through my code, especially when you have like long code. And sometimes it does. This is pretty simple. This is some testing stuff that I was doing, so it's not a big deal. But sometimes you'll have like this to be like really long, and this is when it becomes helpful because it kind of helps you get there a little faster. And then here you have the Explorer, and in the Explorer here you'll have basically all your files and the root of your website and how it will look. Okay, on most of the code gets done into this SRC folder, especially for single page application websites. Some other kinds of websites don't have an SRC folder, so it depends on really what kind of work what are you working with. In this case, since we're working with this is a React one, by the way, and this is not a Gatsby one. This is an actual React, pure React website. So it will be basically all done in the SRC folder. Anyway, so you have the outline here, which I still have no idea what the hell it does, and I don't care. So it usually comes open like that. I just close it so it's out of my way. This timeline here, a lot of this stuff here I never really know what it does. But the npm scripts is pretty useful to have. I don't have them open because I kind of know already what it does, but this basically tells you what you can do to work this site. So if you just want to run this site in the browser, you click npm start. If you want to build this so you can have something built inside your public folder that you can send to the production server, you're in npm build. So this gives you the list of commands that you need to run from npm inside your command line, which is here in this terminal in here. So that way so you can start this program in the browser, so you can build it into production, so you can maybe just test it or eject it, basically just, I don't know. I never use it. So, and all that stuff is defined in your package.json file in here, in your scripts, okay? So as you can see, when you run npm start, this is what it actually does. React will start the program. If you put npm build, then React will build the program and send it to a public folder, a compiled version of your website inside the public folder in here. Okay, so and this is the part that actually gets sent to the browser. So anyway, you don't need to know any other stuff, but the only reason why I'm showing you this, I'm just going to close that. The only reason why I'm showing you this is because if you ever forget and you don't know what it is, you can click on the npm scripts, which is kind of like a useful little windows that Visual Studio kind of provides for you. Okay. Now this terminal here, this doesn't come automatically installed. I mean, it does. It is installed if you click on terminal or whatever, but it's harder to reach unless you have like this little button over here, hard to find. You have to do Control P, terminal, blah, blah, blah. So Control P. If you hit Control P, you can start looking for things in here. It's kind of like a pain in the butt. I don't really like it. So how to make Visual Studio quicker, easier, better, more effective, cooler. This is how. Extensions. So you have this right here. Click on extensions. I'm gonna click the recommended here to close it and enable. Sure. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep the enable because instead of having having to look through all of them, I'm just gonna show you what I have, and then you just do the same things. So this is where you search for them. Okay. So click on this box, start searching for these, and download them. So first one, tag, auto rename tag. What does it do? Basically exactly that. So if I have a piece of code here, let me just go ahead and do something. Okay, HTML. So if I have something here like a div, like that, right? Something. Okay, that's fine. If I do this, for example, if I want that to be a p tag, there you go. Look at that. It automatically finds the closing tag for that one and makes it so that way you don't end up with, I'm trying to force it. Can I even force that? I'm trying to hack it. Oh, there we go. So that way you don't end up with this. Okay, that will cause some major issues in your code. Okay, so in order to avoid that situation, this auto tag helps you a lot, because if you end up changing one tag, it would change the closing tag for itself, and it will keep everything real cool. Okay, so yeah, so tag, auto rename tag did that. All right, the next one is going to be better align. So what does better align do? It's basically just, I'm not gonna do it, you can just see it here, and it basically just sets everything up under it just creates margins and alignments and stuff like that in your code that makes things so much cleaner. So it kind of like beautifies your code a little bit, so it's not like this. You see what it did here? So it was written like this, and then when you hit when you hit save, it does this for you. It automatically lines it all up like that. So that's pretty cool. Bracket pair colorizer. So bracket pair colorizer is pretty awesome, especially for JavaScript and React and things like that. Sometimes when you're going through a lot of code, it gets really crazy to try to find some coding in there. So if I were going to do, I don't know, I'm just gonna put some gibberish here for now, guys. Okay, you see how these are yellow? Okay, these are yellow, and then I'm gonna do something here, and look at that. These are what? Magenta. And then I'm gonna do that here, and now these are blue inside, and if I go through it again, it goes back to yellow and back to magenta. So it basically cycles through these three colors: yellow, magenta, and blue. Yellow, magenta, and the next one will be blue, like that. So this makes it easier to find, because if I wanted to find where this one closes, I can see, well, not only Visual Studio kind of like it does this highlighting, but at the same time I can see that it's blue, so it's obviously not this one, it's obviously not that one, so it's this one. And then I can just go ahead and say, okay, I don't need this entire chunk of code, so I'm just going to delete that, And guess what? I was able to delete it without accidentally deleting this one, for example. Okay, without accidentally doing that, which it would have caused issues. As you can see, there is this thing here that says that there is a missing script, a missing bracket somewhere, and you can see that it's red up here in the Finder. And then if I put it back, there you go. Now it's, obviously you're getting all kinds of different errors here because it's not really a function. Okay, but you get the idea. So it's this BracketColorizer is really awesome to do, to kind of like know exactly where you are on places and things like that. Okay, file and folder icons. This is basically just icons, so you don't have to worry about that. Actually, don't worry about that. This is just for icons to make it nice and pretty, like in the code. These icons here, it's just yeah, don't worry about it. Same thing, file icons, more file icons. Okay, JavaScript ES6 code snippets. Download this. What this does is that it makes use of JavaScript ES6, which is what React uses, the modern React uses. So like like for example, like fat arrow and string literals and things like that, they're going to be used, and variable declarations such as let. So a lot of that stuff is going to be used in React. So it's good to have some JavaScript ES6. As you can see, this is the fat arrow that I was talking about, and this requires some knowledge of JavaScript. So if you want to go through all of this, and if you already have the knowledge and you want to go through some of this stuff and read, then by all means. But ES6 is basically where you want to get to, and eventually ES7 is going to be released. I don't think there is much of an a difference between them, but ES6 is where you really want to be. All right, next one, material icon theme. So again, this is just icons. Guys, you can modify your your look and feel in Visual Studio to make it look any way you want. Like you can put any icons you want. You can change the colors. I mean, you can change a lot of stuff. So this stuff doesn't really make your code better. This is just like a personalized thing. So don't pay attention too much to these icon and themes and things like that, because you don't have to have them. You could do that yourself. And okay, so path intelligence. This is pretty cool. So what this path intelligence does is, if I am looking for a piece of code somewhere, say for example, I'm looking for an image, right? So if I'm looking for an image, you see what that did right there? It automatically gave me this root of my file. So I can come over here and say there, and then I don't know, here. Okay, there you go. Assuming that's an image, it will find it. Okay, and then I won't have to actually start guessing where it is. I can go and follow this entire path intelligence to tell me what's inside of each folder, and it will list it for me when I start doing it. Obviously this is wrong, this is not an image. I'm just to show you what it does. Okay, all right, moving along. PHP intelligence, I mean, that's just for PHP, which we're not going to use in this. On PHP server, we're not going to use on this one as well. Okay, prettier. So prettier is kind of like this better align. Okay, but prettier is a little bit more robust. So I would install it. Okay, it makes it's a lot more compatible with a bunch of other different languages, and it makes all your stuff really formatted correctly, and when you hit save, so it's pretty cool to have. So just do that. Terminal. Okay, so this terminal right here is how I get this thing down here. Okay, so this is pretty cool to have, because once I'm coding, I'm going to be able to, or I'm going to need to run a bunch of code. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Once you get over here, the first thing you're going to need is, assuming that you have the bash already installed, since I talked about it in the first or second video. So you're going to be, the first time you run this terminal, it's not going to be the bash. It's going to be the regular node terminal. Okay, so what I want you to do is, I want you to hit new terminal, right? And then there's going to be an option that you can create which kind of terminal you want to create, and select default show or whatever, and then you can go over here and then you can select from which ones: the window PowerShell, the command prompt, which is the one that you really don't want, that's the regular terminal. You can run Windows PowerShell if you want to, or you can run Git Bash, which is the one that I'm running right here, and I really enjoy that one. So you can delete it if you wanted to, doesn't matter. You can have as many as you want. You can have a bunch of different ones and then just run different codes on different windows like that. You can also have it like that, so you can have two terminals running at the same time, and then you can run something here and run something here independently. So this is really cool. It's like having a bunch of terminals in one place and everything. If you have any problems with your code, it will tell you, hey, you know what, you have issues here in JavaScript 6:14, which is here, line 6, column 14, you have an error. There's this expected, semicolon expected, same thing in 7:11, so 7:11 right here. It's pretty cool. Obviously, I know these are errors, so it's to be expected. Just to show you what this does. The output is basically, it would tell you after you run something, after you compile something, it would tell you that something compiled, and it would tell you, I don't know, some information about the log and things like that. So it's pretty cool to check out, especially if you have errors. And then the debug console, which is not going to show here because we're not really compiling anything and putting it out to the browser. But when you do put something to the browser, if you have any debugging to do, then it will show here as well as in your dev tools. So moving along, because we're getting a little heavy on this video. Okay, so that's pretty much it, actually. Yeah, the rest is just icons, more icons. I get bored of icons, and I change them all the time. So like right now I got these, and eventually I'm gonna get tired of those. I'm gonna change it into something else. It's just crazy. So anyway, so settings. So you're gonna go here and you're gonna click settings. Yep, click on settings, and you're gonna get all these settings stuff here. Okay. All right. So find one that is got here, where you can see edit and settings JSON. Just scroll down until you see this. Click on it, and I want you to look at this here. Okay. You're gonna have something similar to this, okay, but mine is a little bit different. So I'm gonna leave this screen here untouched for a little bit. I want you to look at it, and I want you to kind of rewrite in your place, in your own, whatever you don't have it, put it there. So, and I'll tell you what they do, so that way you can choose to, to not include them if you don't want to. But HTML format wrap attributes. So what this does, it basically it wraps your HTML so that you don't have a scroll bar at the bottom here. So like the code will go here, and then when it gets to here, and it will continue down on the next line, and it will just always remain inside your window no matter how big your window is. Kind of like this. You see how it wrapped? You see how it's wrapping? Like that. Okay. So that's why I have this here. This here. Okay, editor format unsafe. That means that if I have any kind of formatting that I want to do on here, as soon as I hit save, it will format, and it would, indent itself, and it would do all kinds of cool stuff, align itself, all that stuff. Workbench, startup editor, and new untitled file. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, I think this means this is how you take away that welcome screen, so that when you start up a new window of Visual Studio, you end up with just an empty untitled file window here, so you can kind of start from scratch. I don't know, it's kind of useless, but you may have it already. Explorer confirm delete false. So I did that because I hate being like, are you sure? Do you want to delete this? Yes, I'm sure. That's why I press delete. But if you don't want it, if you want to have the confirm delete to show up every time you want to delete something, because you're afraid that you might delete something you don't need to delete or whatever, then don't do this. Keep it true. Don't do this. I think it's by default is true. If you want it to be false, then you have to put it on there. So you can just like omit it. Don't even put it on there. But if you're like me that don't like to be, that hate confirmation windows so much, then do that, and then you won't be asked, if you're sure that you want to delete something. The editor tab size is 2. That just means the distance right here between this line and this line. This distance here is going to be 2 tabs. Okay, each tab is like 2 spaces. So you have 1 space, 2 spaces for 1 tab, and another tab here. So that's 2 more spaces for another tab. So that's 2 tabs. If you like bigger, smaller, whatever, you can reduce this number or increase it. JavaScript update import on file move enable. Okay, so what that does is if you have somehow put this in the wrong place and it shouldn't be here and it should be inside of pages, for example, by dragging this into here, it will refactor by itself everywhere else where you have another file referencing this file as in being inside of components. It will refactor and then it will change it itself that it's not no longer inside of components. It will be inside of pages. So it kind of keeps, and this is pretty cool to have and very helpful to have, because when you have a website with thousands of pages, which trust me, it will happen once you get into more professional programming, it's going to be hard to find where every file is being referenced and change it there. So if you have it that it automatically refactors itself every time you move it, like if you move it somewhere else to another folder, then that's great, because it already, you don't have to go find it. It's like, oh my God, I know that I had it in this one file that I was saying, look for the header inside this folder. So I changed it there. But what if that is also being referenced as another file and I don't know, and that's going to break that, So yeah, it's good to have. Terminal integrated shell Windows bash kit. So this is what I just showed you and how I integrated the bash to it. It does that. It basically just add this to my settings. So you may not have to add this here if you did it the way that I showed you earlier. The Explorer confirmed drag and drop false. I don't know what that is. Just have it if you want to. And file associations. Don't know what that is either. I think if you start adding some new files that are not already included in the core of Visual Studio, then it would do that. So I don't know, just kind of leave it alone. So that's basically all there is to JSONs. I don't know why I have this little dot. If you see this little dot, it's because you did something and you need to save it. So I'm just gonna not. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that so that way I don't save anything. So don't worry about anything here. You see that? Okay, the file associations kind of went away. So that's good. So just close that. This right here, it was just for testing. Obviously, I don't want to save that anywhere, so don't save that. Close this right here, and I don't need any of this stuff here. So anyway, so that's where we are. If you see a little thing here, it's because I have an update for Visual Studio, which I do. That's great. I'll do that later. And that's basically all there is about Visual Studio. And I'm sorry this took so long. Again, I feel like I kind of needed to give you this information, and I'm gonna do my best to keep the next videos as short as possible so I don't bore you to death, because I know I can do that. All right, so this is where I'll stop. See you in the next one.